How would you sum up Motiv8?
We're working together.
I got emotional then.
We know that unemployment is at record lows.
More than just getting people back into employment.
Hands up to Joe again.
The life raft, Motiv8.
Okay, show on the road then. Hello and welcome to everybody to the very first Talent is Everywhere podcast. My name's Nathan Jack. I'm the actual business growth manager for Manchester Athena. And today I've got two amazing guests with me in Julie and Maria, who are going to be talking to us about Motiv8 and their experience of Motiv8. So Julie, would you just like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Julie Fraser. I'm the Partnership Engagement Coordinator for the Motiv8 programme. I work across Greater Manchester.
Thanks, Julie. And Maria?
Hi, I'm Maria. I think I still am a client of Motiv8 for their next branch. And Motiv8 have turned my life around, and I'm their number one fan.
First of all, for those of you who don't know, Julie, could you just give us a rough overview of what Motiv8 is, please?
Motiv8 has been set up thanks to the National Lottery Community Fund and the European Social Fund, part of the Building Better Opportunities programme. It's a Greater Manchester-wide programme, so covers all the 10 boroughs within Greater Manchester. It's being led by Manchester Athena, and it consists of a partnership of housing associations. So we're working together really. We work with those who are 25 and over. They have to be living in Greater Manchester, have the right to live and work in the UK as long as last longer than the Motiv8 programme. Not currently in any employment or training or education, and be experiencing multiple issues. And when we say issues, I'll just name the criteria issues, and it's housing, at risk of homelessness or homeless, addiction issues, substance misuse, alcohol misuse, disabilities, physical health, anxiety, depression, past offences or current offences, anything that the participant feels is stopping them from getting back into work, training or employment, or just basically just stopping them from getting their lives back on track. I think that's all. And domestic abuse again is one of the barriers as well. So if they're experiencing two or more of those that are not being addressed by any other service, then they meet our criteria. Once we have the criteria met, Motiv8, then they get attached to programme, and then we can start our support package really. So what we go about doing then is identifying that support package.
I think for me, what's striking, especially from what you just said there, is the range of challenges that people have and that prevent people from actually moving forwards and thinking about work. And I think for me, I've been on the outskirts of Motiv8 for the last 5 years, so I've known about it, but not actually been involved in it, is the way that kind of like it supports people to get into a headspace when they can start to think about that. Is that right, in terms of thinking about moving into work at that point?
Yeah, you know yourself, like I think with a lot of our participants, there's very complex barriers, complex things going on. And I think sometimes they just need that navigation, that guidance, somebody who's looking at the holistic support really, not just employment, that's the end goal. How are they going to get there? What is stopping them from even considering employment? So we start from the basics really. Once you can improve someone's lifestyle or life chances and put like things in place for them, I think they're definitely then going to we can open them up with opportunities, and then they're going to have a better chance of succeeding.
How many people has Motiv8 engaged with over the last 5 years? And Julie, it's quite a high number, isn't it?
Yes, today we have reached over our 5,000 participants onto programme, which is fantastic. That's quite a lot of people we've been able to reach, and that's probably because we're working together with all the housing associations and our partners. So yeah, very excited. So for me, that just shows you that we're just a little bit more than just getting people back into employment. It's about all the other sides of life, really, and getting them back on track.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Some of those statistics there, and I think you're right in saying that between the housing providers that make up Athena, of which I'm 16 for those people who don't know, I think it demonstrates that housing providers are more than just housing providers. They can provide a range of different services. And I think it's also really crucial to point out that housing providers, although they do provide a range of services, they can be quite unique in a way, almost like the fourth emergency service, is that has often been said, is that there can be the organisations that people go to when other organisations and services don't quite help or not able to help in whichever way they can. So Motiv8 being there has been an absolutely fantastic success, hasn't it?
Yes, it can be just joining a group, you know, to improve the well-being. For some people, that is a massive step. You know, if they've not been going out, they've not been dealing with day-to-day life. So for me, you know, it never becomes boring when I hear people's successes. And sometimes we measure it on employment, and sometimes once you get them basics in you know, for people, it's just going to happen for them, isn't it? They are going to want to do something else.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you there, Julie. And I think it fits into a wider conversation that's happening across the country at the moment, is that we know that unemployment is at record lows, but it doesn't mean that there's still people there who require some support to actually take advantage of all the job vacancies that there are. I think that's where programs like Motiv8 really come into their own. So this podcast, we've badged it as Talent is Everywhere. And that's simply because that is one of my beliefs. I do believe that talent is everywhere, but I also believe that opportunity isn't. So I'd like to think that programs like Motiv8 actually help people unearth their talent and actually take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. And when I talk about talent is everywhere, I think Maria really steps into this category. And hopefully Maria is going to tell us her story today about how she got involved with Motiv8 and how she's come through it now and still connected with Motiv8. But one of the real true shining lights, I suppose, of the Motiv8 program, the successes it can have. So Maria, would you just like to, first of all, tell us how you got to hear about Motiv8?
Oh, wow. Hi. First, I want to say thanks for having me on here. And there's loads of stuff that I didn't know that it was to do with housing. I also, can I just say, I got emotional then, and I very rarely cry. And I think the last time I cried was when I got put in touch with Motiv8, and I was at, I'd say, the worst rock bottom I've ever been at in my life. Yeah, it was hopeless. So where did I first hear about them? It was, I was in a crisis. Shall I tell you about the crisis?
If you'd like to disclose that, Maria, that's fine. Yes, if you want to do that, it's okay. You don't have to, but.
So I'd had quite a few crises building up. Marriage breakdown, financial, starting again. I'm in recovery. I relapsed. I ended up in supported housing. So I was starting again from scratch, and I moved into my own flat, and I'd never been in the benefit system before. I was new on benefits, and they got stopped, and they started an eviction process. First of all, notice to eviction, and there was knocking at the door. There was constant phone calls, letters. I was being hounded. I had zero money. Also, I had embarrassment about asking people for help, letting them know where I was in my life, like old friends. And a lot have said, now, why didn't you tell us? And it's like, there was shame for me around being where I was. And I think the CAB, Citizens Advice, first mentioned, because I was phoning everyone. I was phoning the council. I mean, my days were spent. I also have an autoimmune called fibromyalgia, which gets elevated with stress. And when I get stressed, I can sleep. I can sleep for 48 hours. And all this was going on while I'm trying to navigate it, but I'm trying to stay awake and in a lot of pain, and with some other medical issues. And it was a rock bottom. Like one day I had an appointment at the hospital. I had to walk there. I couldn't get a lift. I had to walk there. It was freezing cold. I was scared to walk in my door, looking around the corner in case they were coming knocking. And it was I was living in fear. And then a friend actually gave me the number of somebody personally somebody in recovery gave me the number, and I called the number, and that started the process from me floating around and calling every kind of organization that was on Google, to diluting them all. And I felt, well, from the first day, it was I felt heard, and it was like I could finally breathe again. I mean, I was hysterical, in tears. I had nowhere to turn. I had no furniture. I had zero money. It was very hard to wake up in the morning and face what was going on. And so then started a process, and I suppose my back was against the wall, so it was kind of like I surrendered to the process, and I was directed to lots of different people. My mental health was in such a shabby state, really. I didn't want to be here. I didn't know how I could go on. One foot in front of another was hard enough. And so then started a process of getting me lots of different help. First, she stopped the eviction process. And I mean, I was looking at being homeless on the street or a homeless shelter. That was my reality when I came to Motiv8.
In terms of that, then, I mean, that's obviously a very scary time in your life there. And there will be people who will listen to this and watch this who might actually associate with that as well, and kind of like think to themselves, crikey, you know, that's where I am now, or they know somebody who's in that situation. So in terms of making that phone call to the team at Motiv8, how did that happen? What's the next step? So you made that call, and then what happened after that?
Oh gosh, that was your original question, and I've just gone off.
Absolutely fine, Maria.
I made the call, and then I was assessed by lots of different people in different departments, and it felt like the previous few months of like getting nowhere for about a couple of weeks, and then it all seemed to slot together. Things started to fall into place, and with the mental health support, with financial, with my home, the behind the scenes work, I don't know what goes on. And just listening to Julie there, I felt emotional, like, wow, I didn't know. For me, it's been my journey, and maybe I should do more research, but there wasn't much I had to do, apart from show up for my appointments.
Who were your appointments with? Sorry, Maria.
My appointments were with a lady called Jo, who's really amazing.
Was she your main point of contact then? Was that the same person that you saw all the way through that process in the main? Was Jo the person connecting you with all these other services?
Yes, and I would have, I think at the start it was like a weekly check-in with Jo, or was it 2 weekly? But when there was a lot going on, there'd be more than that. But not only that, it felt human. I wasn't speaking to a machine. There was like human contact, and we joked, and I started to laugh, and what seemed so big as well, which was big for me, got smaller and smaller and smaller, and the power came away from it. And yeah, I got the strength from Motiv8 and the courage to do other things. They did a lot for me that I didn't know how to navigate. I didn't know where to start. I did not know where to start. And I was spread so thin. It was diluted. It was kind of like, help me, I'm drowning. And then, so I suppose the life raft, Motiv8.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's actually it's fantastic to hear that kind of like that's what Motivator's been like for you.
Yeah.
In terms of Jo, hands up to Jo again, about all the fantastic work that she's done. Was Jo the person who I suppose helped kind of like build your confidence back up again? Did she get you to believe in yourself a bit more, that you could actually face some of these challenges with Jo's support?
Jo told me that to show up was amazing, and to make the appointments, and yeah, to feel heard gave me
Yeah.
confidence. And obviously this next step has given me more confidence, and yeah, also I had support from the mental health team, because I was in a dark place, and also like I got help for going to the leisure centre to build my strength up and things like that in so many ways, and food parcels as well.
Yeah, yeah. And Jo was the main point of contact in all of this. So was she the person who would kind of like be there and just give you a call, ask you how that appointment went, and just ask how you were generally, and then
Yes.
see if there was anything else that she could help you with?
Yeah, so she would have a list. Okay, food, finances, emotional, and then I think at the start I had this full list, and then it just got smaller and smaller. Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. And Jo is classed as a key worker, isn't she, Julie?
That's
Um, and Julie, sorry, how many key workers has Motivate got?
So in each of the delivery hubs, so I think there's 7 key workers in each of the delivery hubs. So we've got 5. So if you think we've got 7 in each of those.
Motivate works with a number of partners as well in the delivery of the overall program. Did you come into contact with any of those other partners at all, Maria?
Yes, there was the mustard tree, which
Okay.
delivered me food as well.
Yeah.
They delivered my vegetarian food. Yeah, I was like, I can't ask for that.
It was because like Shelter are a big part of Motivate as well. Did you have some involvement with Shelter at
I
all?
had involvement with Shelter. They stopped the eviction process
Oh wow, that's
from,
brilliant.
from their end through through Joe, through Shelter. I'm not sure of the name of the mental health team.
Is it Talk, Change, Listen?
Right, talk, change, listen.
Yeah, I think the reason why I asked Maria is that I think Motivate for me is one of those things where it does link in all the other services.
Yeah.
And we've got those key partners that help address some of the issues that people come to Motivate with. And without those partners in place, we won't be able to be as effective or deliver the support and the package the way that Motivate has been. So it's good that you've had an experience of kind of like all the different partners in Motivate as well, and not just Jo as a key worker, but Jo in terms of kind of like the connection to Shelter, and also the mental health side of things as well. So that's really good to see.
We work with lots of other agencies and we'll draw in all that relevant support so that Maria, like you say, all your support needs are met really. So although they're not our specialist partners, we work with any agency that can offer support to our participants really.
So what you're saying in essence, Julie, it's a very individualised service, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. And that's that multi-agency approach really, which like without that, like you say, it's what's the best outcome for that person. So in Maria's case, for mental health support, for furniture, we will just draw on what's in the community and draw on, like you said, those other services.
So Maria, in terms of kind of like you've given us a bit of a picture of where you were and how Motivator supported you. So tell everybody about where you are now and what you're thinking about for the future.
I haven't been in the work field for 3 years. Yeah, and the medical stuff. So my energy levels are still. So there's a lot to be built back up. But Motivate are doing a lot of. I have a woman called Sinead who is doing my website, my Facebook page, helping me out with the emails and the tech. So, and tomorrow morning, I'm teaching a yoga class online on Zoom, my first one, and the Motiv8 team are all going to be doing the class on a big screen in a big room.
That's amazing. That's absolutely fantastic, Maria. That's it's so good to hear that. Obviously, kind of like your backstory there, but also that you're in a place now where you feel confident enough to actually do that over kind of like the technology that we all use nowadays on Zoom and Teams and Google Meet, to actually complete a yoga class online. That's amazing. That's fantastic. Well done.
I haven't done it yet.
I'm sure it'll be fantastic. I'm sure I'll be hearing reports off of the Motiv8 team. So Maria really worked us. She was really good, but she really worked us hard.
Okay, I'll really work them.
Yes, punish them.
So, in terms of how would you sum up Motiv8, Maria? What would be a few key words or a couple of sentences that you'd say would describe what Motiv8 is and what it's done for you?
Oh gosh, you put me on the spot there. I mean, when you said that, I was thinking the name, the motivational. They've got me motivated from I couldn't get up, so to where I am now. The supportive, practical, very practical. That is how I needed to work. Supportive, practical, but also loving, and what's the word for humanized? Like,
well, exactly. That made you feel human. They humanized you again, yeah.
Yeah. I felt humanized, heard, loved. Yeah.
It's so good for you to say that, Maria, because I think sometimes we can talk about it as people who deliver the service and people who are involved in the commissioning of the service and things like that. Yeah. But it isn't until we get to speak to people like yourself who've actually been through it that it really starts to kind of like hit home about kind of like the impact that it has. And also we think we're doing the right thing. But obviously hearing it from you just reinforces that and just gives us a little lift as well. So really appreciate that, Maria.
Oh, I really appreciate you guys. Like, you know I do.
Would you recommend a friend? Would that be something that you would do?
I have already. People in recovery and who are also, if somebody's going through a crisis, which I think fits the criteria, I'm like, I know somebody who may be able to help you. So I have 3 friends on their books, and I have given the number out to a few other people because I'm in a 12-step program. There are people who come to these rooms, to our meetings. We do meetings that are in crisis situations.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing to hear that, and it's amazing that you've actually had such a great experience with Motiv8 that you're recommending it to people as well. And it's been such a part of your life that's enabled you to get into a position now where you're feeling confident enough to do a yoga class online, which I think is absolutely fantastic, by the way. And I'm sure and I believe that you will go on from here now, strength to strength, and kind of like make a success out of that little business that you're creating.
Thank you.
No, you're more than welcome, Maria. So I think from me, that really does paint a picture of what Motiv8 is, what it's all about, and also hearing from yourself, Maria, has been absolutely fantastic today. So thank you, Maria. Really do appreciate your time and appreciate you being so open with us as well and being prepared to actually take part today. So I really thank you for that. Julie, I also thank you for taking part and being open to it. It can be quite scary, these little things about being recorded and then opening ourselves up to the world. But I think if anything from your story, Maria, it does demonstrate that the people are out there, if you are struggling, who can help and want to help. So please.
I have one more word.
Go on, Maria, please do.
Healing. Motiv8's been healing for me.
Good word.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I must admit, it's not something I necessarily associate with Motiv8, but I will moving forwards after having this.
Thank you for tuning in to the Talent is Everywhere podcast from Manchester Athena. If you've been inspired by any of the topics that have been discussed today, have a look in our description where you'll find all the relative links to get support and get access to the information and learn more about what Manchester Athena does. We've really enjoyed doing this podcast and we look forward to seeing you again next time.